What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Drums and Drams live stream. Very excited about this evening. I'm already a couple of drinks deep. I've already had a couple of cocktails at the old Buckeye Bourbon House here in Columbus. A buddy of mine is in town playing with the symphony, and we went over there. I started off with a what was it? It was a barrel pick of Sagamore cask strength rye. That's what it was. And then I had an old fashioned. So 2 drinks deep, back home now, ready to get going here on this live stream. As many of you saw, the focus of today is going to be Bardstown Bourbon Company's new releases. They have 4 new releases that are just now either hitting shelves or being released in the distillery gift shop. In addition to those, I've got a bunch of, allocated stuff here that I can taste through, some new additions for me, some stuff that I talked about with my patrons on Patreon this past Monday. And so, we've got a couple of things that we can cover here. Tonight, I'm not planning on doing a giveaway. The channel's been pretty inactive recently because of just my schedule and how insane things have been. And so, I didn't want it to look like, hey, I'm coming back and doing a live stream. Let's do a giveaway and super chat, so no giveaway this evening. I have a Bardstown Discovery 6 that I thought would be a cool giveaway for tonight. But it's just one of those things. I didn't want it to have a bad perception to it. So anyways, no giveaway this evening, tasting through Bardstown's products. I've got some other cool, allocated or hard to find releases here. The Old Forester stuff just came in. Obviously, patrons know I got the 4 Roses Limited, Blue Run Rye, Stag Batch 16, whole bunch of stuff. The brand new Booker's Bardstown batch. I'm hoping to preview that tonight as well. So I've got a lot of stuff to cover. Gonna try not to get too schmammered. Haven't really had dinner, so this could be dangerous. So anyways, that is the plan for this evening. Good to see you, Sugar Kitty and Amy, both of you. Tom Lynch in the house, another local here. Haywood Jablomi says, let's rock. David Babcock, good evening to you, sir. Symphony folks do go hardcore. We had rehearsals all damn day. We're playing some really good rep. And Renee Fleming is in town. If anybody is familiar with Renee Fleming, she's a very famous opera singer. But also, she's sung the national anthem at the Super Bowl, all sorts of stuff. So she's in town this week. We're playing with her. I get to play a little drum set for a couple of her charts. So that's a lot of fun. And just some good stuff all around. So, yes, we are partying tonight. So anyways, that's the plan. Let's get to it, guys. Patrons, Lido, Amy, Tom, let me just apologize to you guys because, we covered some of this on Monday. I want to get into a little more detail. Monday was a quick 1-hour stream. I'd like to get into some more detail on this Bardstown stuff. Maybe do some comparisons if they're, if my liver has space for it. And then get into some of these other releases, these Old Forester 117 series, the 4 Roses, the Stag Batch 16, which I feel like I have a better idea of the Stag 16 at this point. But maybe more importantly, this new Booker's. I'm very interested in this. I've had 1 pour of this already, and I'm curious to try it again tonight and see if it's consistent from yesterday to today. All right, that's what we've got going on this evening. So let's get to it. Let me know what you're sipping on this evening, if you are sipping on anything. Let's go ahead and start. Let's go back here to Bardstown Fusion 6. And I want to do a side-by-side with this, all right? And there's a reason for that. I'm going to pull this up very quickly. Daniel, what's up, man? Dude, thank you for the super chat. And yeah, cheers to not being so busy. You know, like I'm in regular mode now in terms of, okay, we had a rehearsal day. It was a regular work day. But yeah, no, like side projects pretty much wrapped up. But, you know, it's like as soon as the side projects wrapped up this week, then a rehearsal week started with the orchestra. But moving forward, it's, you know, it's no big deal. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into the drums and drams hardcore. Yeah. Amy, a little Bardstown Bourbon Company Fusion 4. Tom, I'm going to bitch about this in just a second. And it has nothing to do with you saying this. It has to do with UPS. I'll bitch about this in just a second, but I need to have more alcohol in my body first. So I've got the Fusion 6 here, like I mentioned. Let me grab from behind me just very quickly an older Fusion. Let me go with Fusion 1, actually. All right. So let's check this out. Let's check out Fusion 1 versus Fusion 6. Let's see where Fusion has started and where it is today. And, you know, the reason I'm doing this is because on my patron-only live stream on Monday, I tasted Fusion 6 and I had some strong opinions about it. And since then, I haven't tasted Fusion 6. And I want to see if I'm crazy or if I'm warranted in my opinions about Fusion 6. All right, so let's do this. All right, there we go. Cool. So Fusion 6 is here, and then Fusion 1 is on the end of the drum here. Daniel snagged a Bomberger's 21 today and a Cooper's Craft 100. The Cooper's 100 is my like go-to cheap pour. I love it. And so is Old Forester Rye, a couple other things, you know, around that $20, $25 price point. I love those things. So yeah, and I was never really a Brown-Forman fan. I think I've leveled up a little bit there. David scored. Oh, damn, dude. Good job. Good job. Yeah, I know they were going to make it possibly a regular release, but I didn't know that it wasn't coming out in 2021. I had assumed that it might be. So anyways, guys, hit that like button if you don't mind, just very quickly. Let's get going here. So Fusion 6. Let's start with this. For those of you watching, Fusion 6 is now mostly Bardstown Bourbon Company's own mash bill. And the other 30% is an 11-year Kentucky bourbon, presumably Jim Beam, but could be a couple of different things. All right. So let's check out Fusion 6 on the nose and then compare it to Fusion 1. Yeah. Fusion 6 on the nose right away. Very honey forward, very sweet. It smells young, smells a little bit almost acetone-like. Yeah. Almost a chemical note. I've got to say, it's just, I don't know. It's harsh. It's underwhelming. It's a little bit young. Yeah. So Fusion 6 on the nose right away, not the greatest. Now, before I taste it, I want to take a little whiff here of Fusion 1. And let's just compare these on the nose before anything is on my palate. All right. So Fusion 1 has 60% of Bardstown Bourbon Company's own stuff. Let's see what Fusion 6 has total. 70%. Okay. So there's a little bit less in Fusion 1. And then Fusion 1 is rounded out with 11.5-year Barton. 40% of 11.5-year Barton. So let's see how that is on the nose. Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's night and day difference. So Fusion 6 smells like a Buffalo Trace or a Chattanooga product with those honey notes. And then Fusion 1, it basically smells like a 1792, 1792 bottled and bond is kind of what this is close to. And that's just a testament to the fact that they're putting, you know, that Barton juice in here. And there's not that much more old stuff in Fusion 1 than there is in Fusion 6. It's just a testament to the fact that Barton juice is better for blending. When you're mixing it with young stuff, it helps to round out the rough edges of the young stuff. Whereas this, again, presumably 11-year Jim Beam in the Fusion 6, it doesn't help, that young Bardstown distillate in any way. Yeah, you guys are talking about Cooper's 100, and I love that stuff so much. It is great. No Jack Daniel's Bear Proof Rye this year. It will be hazmat bottles from the Coy Hill warehouse. Okay, well, that's not a bad consolation prize. Damn. Hazmat Tennessee whiskey, I should say. There you go. That's funny. So yeah, Fusion 1 on the nose, just so good. And I understand now why people love to use Barton bourbon, to blend in a lot of these different things. Proofs are similar, right around that 97, 98 proof. So let's try Fusion 6 on the palate. So yeah, Fusion 6 tastes like a $30 whiskey. Little oak on the back end. Yeah. A little sweet cornbread, a little sweet oak on the back end of the Fusion 6. But it just smells too darn young. So, not a big hit there. Let's go to Fusion 1 now, which honestly smells like a great bourbon. Yeah, it smells like a really solid 1792 bottled in bond, a little barrel char on the nose. Great oak profile here. All right, let's try Fusion 1. Wow. Fusion 1 on the palate. Yeah, the length of sort of like development on the palate is so much more than the Fusion 6. Fusion 6 feels like a flash of something, and then it's just going away. Fusion 1 really takes a long time to kind of crescendo on the palate and then die away. And I just think it's that base bourbon. I think that Barton bourbon is so much better for blending here than, this younger Jim Beam. I think the 15-year mystery mash bill Jim Beam is a great blending bourbon, but this one is just not so great in the Fusion 6. So yeah, and I think Discovery 1 is that's so accurate, Daniel. Like Discovery 1 for me is just like a really great Barton bourbon, and it's got a little extra something going on there. That's a great way to describe it. And I love Fusion 1 or Discovery 1 rather. I love it. What's up, Jeffrey Wack? Good to see you, man. Thanks for jumping in. I know the channel's been a little bit on the fritz, so thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, wow. It's Fusion 6. I'm telling you guys, and I said this to my patrons on Monday night, it's just like a Chattanooga product. It really smells that way. I would pass Fusion 6. I would go buy a Chattanooga 111, call it a day, be done with it, or buy a bottled in bond. So speaking of which, got to have a dump cup here. Tom Lynch. Tom is in the chat here. And you mentioned that you've got the fall 2017 bottled in bond from Chattanooga. So mine was supposed to get here today, so I had a package coming last Friday from Sealbox. There was supposed to be these Catoctin Creek, I think is what it's called, hot honey rye. Very excited about it. I got 2 bottles. It's supposed to come on Friday. Nothing happened. I got a note on my front door. Nobody rang the doorbell for me to come sign for it. Like, it was very weird. And the note said nothing, okay, from the UPS driver. And it was like a substitute UPS driver, like a substitute bus driver when you're, in elementary school. So this guy doesn't ring the doorbell. Then that package is just suddenly vanished. It's gone. So I don't know if he stole it or what happened. But I have to file a claim with UPS on that. And then today, my Chattanooga 20 fall 17 bottled in bonds were supposed to be delivered. And I get on there It says out for delivery. And then I go to the history and it says, yeah, it's out for delivery today, but yesterday it was damaged beyond repair and was thrown out and to contact the seller. But suddenly it's being delivered today and it never showed up. So I don't know what the hell is going on with Sealbox and or UPS in my area, but I'm a little bit like dark about it because that's like $300 plus shipping on both of those that have gone down the drain. So I don't know what's going on. I do not know, man. What's up, David? Good to see you, man. And yeah, the hot honey rye sounded great, but there was like a very limited number of bottles, and I don't know if I'm ever going to see one of those now because who the hell knows what UPS did to those. So anyways, that's that. I'm jealous, Tom, of your Chattanooga bottled and bonds. I really wanted to do a comparison tonight after those bottles showed up to the previous edition. Yeah, I think someone knows what's going on here. But here's the deal. UPS has been delivering all of my not so legal shipments from the Schmeckendary market. They've been delivering those just fine, but anything with an adult signature is being ganked. And I think they see that and someone's just pulling those. So it's not great. Daniel, me too. This is why I always tell people to use UPS or FedEx, because UPS in my area, besides these issues, is just shitty. So, oh my gosh. Okay, guys, I got my dump cup. I'll put it up here. I want to show you all before we pour the next the next glass. I picked up one of my bucket list bottles. You know, a lot of people want William LaRue Weller. A lot of people want George T. Stagg, Pappy's, Wild Turkey, you know, Cheesy Gold Foils, all those things. Ever since I snagged this 1983 Granddad Bonded, and then I got a 1990 Old Granddad Bonded, I always wanted to get a 1980s, you know, circa 80s Granddad 114. And I've finally pulled the trigger on this for an amount of money that shocked me. I can't believe I did it. But I've agreed to not open this bottle until I have like a big moment in my life. And I don't know what it's going to be. I don't have anything on the books. We just got married. So, you know, I have a couple grants I've applied for. I have a couple of potential things happening. And if any of those things get the okay or I nail them, this son of a bitch is getting cracked open and poured. 1989 Granddad 114, lot 18. So I just can't wait to be able to crack this thing. But not today, as much as I really want to, you know, not today. All right, guys, let's move on now. Let's get these fusions out of here. You know, Bardstown Fusion for me is the most underwhelming thing that they do at the price point. Yeah, it's just not, it's never been that great. Fusion 1, I think, is pretty good. And I think 2 and 3 are actually pretty good as well, you know, and it starts to fall off after that. You start to get more of their juice mixed in, and the backing bourbon doesn't do as much in there, the older stuff. And it just kind of is what it is. So it's a little bit of a shame, but, you know, whatever. It's not my first live in 2 months. I've been live every week, man, at least once a week. So that is not, but, you know, it's probably not notifying people because I haven't been putting out recorded content. And so I think the algorithm has really just forgotten about me. And that's why we've got 22 people on here tonight. You know, they're less excited about the channel. They're not seeing the notifications, which, you know, totally understandable. So I'm hoping that when I start getting this content back out and everything like that, that it'll be good. Yeah, I think I'll probably have to do this, Amy. Although the last one seems like it was not an issue with the driver, but an issue at the warehouse, which is more interesting, I guess. Yeah, $60 for Fusion is steep. And Daniel, the only reason I do it is so I can taste it once here and then, you know, let it go. So that's that. What's up, Carl? Good to see you, man. Okay. Yeah, Lido. Me too, man. What are we moving to next? Let's do this. So I wanted to come back to the Faronde. For all of my patrons on the stream right now, I tasted this the other night. I was not a big fan of it. I read something that Bardstown had put out about this, kind of talking about the tasting notes and kind of what they were going for. So I decided I should probably give this another shot. So the Faronde here is finished in cognac casks. I'm not super familiar with cognac, but let's see. Maison Faronde. Yeah. I don't know anything about this brand, but 110 proof, 7 and 11-year bourbon blended together and finished in this cognac cask for 8 months. And the tasting notes that they provided were really interesting. It didn't really sound that delicious to me. And maybe that's why I don't like it so much. Maybe the tasting notes are spot on with what I'm tasting. But let's give this a go, this Faronde. It went for like $400 or $450 the first day it was out. And people were, flipping it on secondary. It's 130 regularly MSRP. And the distillery is only putting out a couple of cases a day, of this at open. So Daniel, I know. I mean, like, that's the thing. At this point, I'm close to 400 bottles, and it's like, I don't know, some of these things I'll never seek out to drink. So I guess I'm going to have to start mixing them with something. Oh, Peter says lots of plantation rum is finished in Faronde cognac. Okay, that's interesting. Some of the things that we in the bourbon community find to be like unusual finishings or specialty or hard to find, and other spirits are very like easily attainable. So I find that interesting. Mizunara oak, Japanese oak, and Scotch is like pretty damn common. Like Dewar's does it, and Dewar's is a gigantic company. Whereas here we get like a 15-year Mizunara finished Rabbit Hole for $1,500, or we get the Angel's Envy, or whatever else. It seems a little silly. So maybe this cognac is another instance of that. Yeah, the one thing I like about this is you get a lot of nice brown sugars, really sweet brown sugar notes. And right behind that is like a nice sort of dry plum, dry raisin, these sort of dark, dried fruit notes. Yeah, but it also seems a little bit young on the nose. Like the ethanol is kind of more present than you would think for 110 proof for a 7 to 11-year blend finished. Usually finishing takes out a little bit of that youth. I don't know. Tom, it is not Dickel. No, they don't provide the stats of the 7 and 11-year that are going in here. I have to assume the 11 is that Jim Beam that they've been using in these other things, or what I assume is Jim Beam, 75, 13, 12. And the 7, they have a 7-year MGP they've been using recently. I don't think it's that because it's labeled Kentucky. So maybe it's like a Heaven Hill. They've used young Heaven Hill before, 78, 10, 12. I don't know. I don't know what that 7-year is, but the 11 I would imagine is that same 75, 13, 12, possibly Jim Beam mash bill. Definitely no Dickel in here, though, thankfully. Yeah, it just seems a little bit like, it seems like a fragile bourbon. It doesn't know what it wants to be. This bourbon has this bourbon needs to see a therapist, something like that, There's a lot of like really nifty things about it though. And that's one like on my Patreon stream on Monday, I didn't give this enough credit. It does have some nifty aspects to it. There's a really interesting nuttiness to it. Almost like there's a lot of different, here I am specifying nuts, there's some peanut notes, but there's also like this almond and almost like this Brazil nut thing going on. And then, yeah, all of these sort of dark dried fruit notes, a little bit of a dark chocolate type vibe, but it all seems a little young and a little sharp and underdeveloped, a little unrefined. That's what I think it is, Daniel. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Definitely a lot of chocolate covered peanut going on in here. Yeah. A lot of chocolate covered. So this to me, it's like if you took two different candy bars, like a Snickers kind of chocolate covered peanut, but also you took one of those like really nice dark chocolate candy bars filled with some sort of like, kind of like that raspberry whatever in the middle, and you combine those two. That's what you're getting on the Faronde, but it's not a good thing. It's not cohesive, and that's what sucks. Coconuts. Interesting. Oh, Tom, what are you talking about, Tom? You talking about the bourbon or past live streams with Sarah? I don't know if you've been here on past live streams. I don't recognize your name, Tom. If this is your first time, welcome. Good to see you. Hmm. There's also a really light sort of apricot note to the Faronde. Look, I don't hate this stuff. I think it's a fine pour. I really do. To me, it tastes like a company like Jim Beam put out a specialty release and finished something in something. And to me, it's like a $70 pour, or $70 bottle, I should say. It's not worth anywhere near what they're asking for. But I do think since Monday, I've kind of figured out that this has a little bit of, a better aspect to it. It's a little bit more redeemed for me because it is kind of novel in different ways. But again, it's just not a cohesive bourbon. Oh man, this would be fun actually. This would be a lot of fun to do. Um, have a meetup with your online friends and charge money for a Drums and Drams logo Glencairn. We will gladly help with all the taste at once bottles. That would be a good time. Give me 1 second, guys. I think Sarah just texted me. I need to send her a text message. My phone just went off. Give me 1 sec. I would love to do a meetup like that. But, with the channel being a little bit inactive recently, I think it might not be, the best thing. But I do have a bar here in town that I want to talk to and get in touch with once the channel has grown a little bit more. That would be a lot of fun. Like a college solo cupcake party. That's hilarious, man. What's up, Young Pei Chang? Good to see you, man. All right. Let's move off of the Faronde and let's go to something else here. Let's check out this distillery collection from Bardstown Bourbon Company. All right. We'll do a very quick tasting here. Do a very quick one and then get going. Actually, you know what? Let's skip that. Let's skip that release. Maybe we'll come back to it. I just have too much I want to get to tonight. We're going to go to Discovery 6. All right. Here we go. Great. All right, so we got Discovery 6 here. There we go. Yeah, there we are. Good stuff. Let me grab Discovery 4. Let's do a comparison here. So the other night I compared Discovery 6 to Discovery 3. And the reason I did that related to the tasting notes of Discovery 6. I was thinking that it could be similar to Discovery 3, and it was similar in some ways and different in others. And so I want to do this comparison now to Discovery 4 to kind of get the other side of that. I think Discovery 3 and 4 are completely different beasts. And I find similarities to both of them in this Discovery 6. And I'd like to see, how these things relate so I can make a better judgment on it later. All right. So that's going to be our next comparison here. What's up, Uta? Good to see you. So Discovery 6 is 111.1 proof, and Discovery 4 is 115, so very close. And Discovery 6 is made up of mostly a Kentucky 11-year, again, presumably Jim Beam, with a little bit of Dickel 17-year and a little bit of Indiana 7-year mixed in there. All right, so it's a diverse grouping of, things in that blend. So let's check out Discovery 6 and then put it next to Discovery 4. And let me know if you guys have tried Discovery 6. This is one that has, I don't think, been distributed outside of the distillery as far as I've seen. I could be wrong, though. Yeah, it's got it's just got a great sweet fruity profile. The one thing that this has that I'm not getting right now, but I know it has, is a little bit of nuttiness, a little bit of peanut. And it's not crazy, but you don't really find that nuttiness unless you compare this side by side with something else. Then it starts to show itself. But what I get right now is just so much orange and so much sweet fruit. It's like a great Knob Creek pick, a great Knob Creek pick, a Wild Turkey rare breed, and something else kind of mixed together is what it feels like to me. Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, Peter, I'm sorry to hear that. Tom, that would be fun. That would be hilarious. A parking lot bourbon hang. Oh my gosh. Actually, Tom, I've been thinking about trying to do something with the symphony here. The symphony is like having some event maybe next weekend or something. And they're having like a bourbon tasting. And I want to be like, look, dude, like I'll lead a tasting and then play music for everybody in attendance, Aiden, yes, they've used more Dickel in Discovery 6, but they've only used like 16%. So 1/6 of the blend is Dickel, but you do not get that on the palate here. Like if you really search for it, you might be able to find a hint of that weird note. But I think what that Dickel is doing is adding like body to this whiskey and adding some really great fruit notes, man. Bourbon Mike, yeah. Disco 6, I'm going to compare it to 4 right now, and we're going to see how this stacks up, What's up, Will? Good to see you, Hindo. So let's check out now Discovery 4 on the nose. Damn, Discovery 4 is really good. I haven't tasted this in a long time. There's a dry tobacco note in here that I've never picked up on before. Sheesh. Tobacco and barrel char. Some really nice notes. Yeah, Discovery 6 is certainly fruitier than Discovery 4. Dang. Both very good. Let me try 4 on the palate. Wow. Discovery 4. What stands apart with that is the intensity. Holy crap. From front to back, that's intense on the palate, Fantastic. Let's go to Discovery 6 again. Yeah, Discovery 6 maybe feels a little bit tamer, but a little bit sweeter. Yeah. Discovery 6 to me actually feels a little bit more like an everyday pour. Like it might drink under its proof a bit of 111.1. And I think it's the Dickel in there that's doing it. That's kind of taming everything down, rounding it out. It's not offensive, but it also pulls away a little bit of the development on the palate from front to back where you kind of wish it had a little more oomph behind it. You go to Discovery 4 and it's all intensity the entire way through. So to me, Discovery 4 almost feels like a little bit more of a special occasion bottle. And yeah, it is 4 proof points higher, but that's not that much, I think for me now, tasting this side by side, what really stands out about Discovery 4 is that dry tobacco, almost cedar and oak note going on in that. Barrel char as well. And then you go to Discovery 6. What stands out in that is a little bit of this vanilla cream, really sweet orange flavors, just nice and heavy and rich and sweet all the way around, which I think is that Dickel really kind of actually helping the blend to the point of almost diminishing it. But I don't think it quite edges on that. So I like these both in their own ways. And I'll say this. Discovery 5, you have to try to like Discovery 5. Discovery 6, you do not have to try to like Discovery 6. It's just good. And I have 3 of these bottles. I want to give one of them away, but every time I taste it, I'm like, maybe I should keep them all because they're so good. And they're tart. You know, no Discovery to this point has been like a tart fruit. They've all had sweetness. They've all had fruit notes to some degree, but they haven't been tart like Discovery 6 is. Yeah, and Discovery 4 doesn't have that. It's a little bit more traditional. Wow. Yeah, Dan, you have to try to like it, you know? Lido, I mean, I think, you know, I love Discovery 1. It doesn't stand out, you know, but I think it's a super solid bourbon. Discovery 2 stands out because it's so spicy and intense. Discovery 4 to me always was second to Discovery 3 because I just love MGP so much. But Discovery 4, now that I taste this outside of Discovery 3, that's not involved here, it's amazing. So like those are 2 great bottles, you know? Yeah, and Will, like I'm with you, man. Discovery 5, time and a place for it. It's just like Blue Note 17 for me. Time and a place for it. But I don't know. Yeah, my mouth is watering too. Mine's because I'm hungry, because I need to eat dinner. Yeah, Daniel's right. You guys, Lido, you got some awesome ones, man. You really did. All right. One final sip of Discovery 4 because I don't have that much left and I only have one backup. Then we can continue on with our epic dump glass this evening. Got some fusions, a little bit of Faronde, and now Discoveries 4 and 6. All right, got to hydrate here. We got some more people coming in. Guys, if you're just now joining, I just finished tasting through all of Bardstown Bourbon Company's new releases. I haven't done the Jesus, I can't speak. The distillery exclusive. I might save that one because I want to get onto some other stuff right now. But if you're just now joining, hit that like button. Let's get a couple more people in here and have some fun. Me too, Daniel. You know what? I used to be like, for everything that I would dump was like, oh my God, you know. And then I got, you know, I just got surrounded by bottles basically. And you look around and it's like, I calculated how much, I approximated how much bourbon I have and Scotch, everything based on like, you know, most bottles being about 2/3 full. And like the calculation was if I drank like a reasonable amount, I have enough whiskey for the next 10 years. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to dump that shit and I'm not going to feel bad about it. Yeah, no, Uta, I'm with you. I'm hydrating a lot right now. I am doing the damn thing. Yeah, Aiden, you know, this is the challenge with Bardstown Bourbon Company, and it's something that I really wanted to talk about tonight as well. I mentioned it to the patrons on Monday, which is that, you know, when a company continues growing like they have, and they start off with such incredible stocks of bourbon, I don't know if they could have ever predicted that MGP was going to pull their stuff back or predicted that like Dickel was going to become the new blending fad. Like, I don't know what they were talking about behind the scenes. But the unfortunate part is when the company continues to grow, every market they add means they need to produce more and more product. And they're going to have to just start sourcing stuff that's more readily available. And what's readily available? Well, young MGP, 4 to 8 year, let's say at most, MGP. Young Beam probably available. It seems like if that's what they're using in these other blends. Old Dickel. And that's what we're starting to see shape up with a lot of what any company is doing. So that becomes a problem because like that flavor profile has to be done right, you know, and I think they've done it as best as they could have with Discovery 6 at this point. And so we're going to see now how that continues to evolve. Like, do they have to finish part of the blend like Blood Oath and put that into the discoveries to add a different flavor profile that they can't otherwise get from sourcing bourbon with that note that they're looking for, a more rum-like note, a more coconut note? I don't know what it is, but I think about these things because it's going to be an interesting problem to see, you know, Bardstown specifically solve with their products because they're just growing too fast. And I don't know how sustainable it is behind the scenes. And if they continue allocating things, you know, more slimmer and slimmer, however you say that, if they continue like a more slim allocation model, people are just going to get pissed off, you know, because they're not going to be able to find it. It's going to be like Weller 12 or Weller Foolproof where you can't find any of it. And then the value gets jacked all the way up. That's kind of my worry about all of this, you know? I mean, I hope they have high-aged whiskey, but like, you know, at this point, if you have a high-aged MGP, you better hold on to that shit and save it for a special release. And then if you do that and you portion it out, it's going to be really hard to find that release, you know? Yeah. Scalability is like the blessing and the curse right now in the industry. And one company that I think is doing it well is Penelope. They haven't quite hit the phase that Bardstown has. They're not doing all the different things they are. But as a boutique company, I think Penelope is scaling very well right now. Everything is progressively still getting better. They've had quite a few releases. And so I'm curious to see how Penelope does with this issue, you know? Oh, you're saying, right. They do. And I think Dickel eventually is going to run out of that, just like MGP. Or at least they're going to put like a cap on things and say, we need to keep our own stocks, you know? Yeah. Sorry to go on a tirade. All right. Let's go to something different now. Let's go to something different. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to chug this glass of water very quickly. All right. Aiden, I don't think you're far off here. I think Driftless Glen is one of the most underrated distilleries in the country. And Still Austin, while, you know, these Texas distilleries have a particular funk and a particular profile, but Still Austin's going to be a big player in 5 years. I think Still Austin is like the hot distillery to watch. I really do. But Driftless Glen just needs to get their due from somebody. I don't know who it is. Someone needs to like say, hey, this shit is unbelievably good. You know, check them out. I think it's important. All right, so let's do this. All right. I'm going to check out the new Bookers. So for those of you who have watched the channel before, watched my reviews, you know, I'm not a big Bookers guy because I don't love peanuts in my whiskey. In fact, over the last couple of years, I shouldn't say in fact, I should say, although over the last couple of years, months, years, whatever, however long it's been, time is a construct, I've gotten a little bit more accepting of nuttiness in my whiskey. So the last couple Bookers releases, let me think about what they've been. The first one was Donahoe's of 2021. Second was Tag Along. And third was, or is, Bardstown Batch. And every time I taste these, when I crack the bottle open, I get a ton of fruitiness. I just get a good profile. Like I get an old school Booker's profile. As the bottle opens up, it becomes just a peanut shell catastrophe, and it's not good. Donahoe's has been interesting to watch develop. Tagalong is a hot batch, but I like it in a lot of ways. And now we have Donahoe's batch, okay? And I want to just taste this outside of a comparison right now. I've had one pour of it, just like the others. The first pour, I was like, hell yeah, this is an amazing whiskey. I want to see if that's the case still. It's 6 years, 5 months old, and 62.75%. All right, so it's young, 6.5 years, a little lower, maybe on the percent side or on the ABV side than some of the others. But I'm curious about this to see if it's held up to how it tasted yesterday when I snagged it. All right, so let's coat the glass. Aiden, yeah. And, all I've had from Driftless Glen is this single barrel pick. But just from that, you can tell the quality of the whiskey that they're producing, Dylan, you got to try the other discos if you haven't. Disco 5 is fine. If you get 3, you get 4, you get 2, you get 1. Now you get 6. I mean, they're all good, All right, so let's go to Bardstown Batch here from Booker's and see what we get. It's hot. I mean, it's hot it's hot, but it's not unreasonably hot. Tagalong is way hotter than this. You do get a really, really nice fruity note in this. Classic Booker's brown sugar, classic cinnamons and things like that. But there's a candied cherry note in here that I haven't found in a Booker's in quite a while. Let's taste it. Ooh. Yeah. A lot more nuttiness on the palate than the nose suggests. Bourbon Mike. I really enjoyed Tagalong Batch as well. And I think that Booker's right now is on a very slow incline. I think it is getting better. It's not crazy, but I do think it is improving. Sheesh. Okay. So Bardstown Batch, the one I'm sipping right now. I like it. Here's why. There is a differentiator on the nose and on the palate, which is this fruitiness that you get in old Booker's batches, 2015, 2017. Some of these older, highly sought after batches have a distinct fruitiness. A lot of that to me is cherry, but sometimes you get a really awesome green apple note in some of these Booker's. Bardstown Batch has the cherry and that strawberry, just basically red fruits, red berries. All of that is going on in here. And that's differentiating it on the nose and palate. But when you get to the back end of the palate is where this thing shines. Yes, there's nuttiness. Yes, there's a little bit of youth. The things you expect from Booker's. None of those are like blown out of proportion. On the back end, you get this oak that Booker's has not had in quite a while. Look, if you're going to have 6.5-year-old whiskey, no one is expecting that to be tannic or extremely oaky or whatever. This balances out the youth finally with an acceptable and appropriate amount of oakiness on the back end, and that's why this is a good batch. Yes. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh my God. Is it a 10 out of 10? No. Is it a home run? It's like you're getting to third, It's really, really good. This, to me, this is the best Booker's since if you like beaten biscuits, if you like country ham, if you like these end of 2019 Booker's, this is it. You're getting there. In fact, you're like getting a cross between those with some of the really older batches, Kentucky Chew, Big Man Small Batch. You're starting to creep back into that territory. Yeah, and it's the back end of this that tells me that this is a well-blended bourbon and something that drinks over its age. Yeah. Damn. Bourbon Mike, that's a pretty darn accurate description of this batch. Little grassiness on the back end. Wow. First sip, as any Booker's first sip is a little bit aggressive, abrasive. Every sip after that, it continues sweetening up, getting more fruity. You get a little bit of like this really rich vanilla. Yeah, this is a special batch, in my opinion. And look, in 2 weeks, I might totally think that I'm crazy for saying this at this point. It might change. Air might do something to it. Comparisons might do something to it. But right now, I think this is hot. And does it justify the new Booker's price point? No, nothing can really justify that price point at this point with 6.5-year-old bourbon. But this is really good stuff. All right, so take it for what it is. I think Bardstown batch is a great batch of Booker's. All right, so let me see. I have a sample here of Little Book 5, and I want to compare it next to this Bardstown batch of Booker's. I think it's going to be an interesting comparison. Let me see if I have it in front of me. I do. Okay. Hoping I didn't leave it in the living room. We're going to do this right now. Let me check the chat, guys. Sorry, I haven't really kept up with the chat here. Oh, Sugar Kitty, that sucks. Yeah, I would love to send you a sample, honestly, of the single barrel that I have from Driftless Glen, which I think is amazing. Espresso, dark chocolate, dark fruits. Yeah, it's a little young, a little rough around the edges, but the flavors themselves are so unique and so good. Okay, let's see. Carl found a 5-ounce sample of Booker's 1802. Wow. That's a good thing to forget about. What's up, Whiskey Nose? Marty, good to see you, man. Awesome. All right. So, Little Book, Chapter 5, The Invitation, 116.8 proof, I think is what it says. This sample was sent in by Daniel, DLP, Daniel Lundquist Pescors. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. Daniel was kind enough to send me a 2-ounce sample of this, which is amazing, and a 2-ounce sample of Foregate Kelvin Collab 3, all right, which I have not tasted yet. I don't know if I'll get to that this evening. But I want to put the new Little Book next to the new Booker's because I think, we want to find out if Little Book is worth the extra $30 to $40 off the shelf. And in this case, Little Book Chapter 5 has some 15-year-old whiskey in it, but it also has like 2-year-old whiskey in it or something crazy like that. There's some really young whiskey blended into Little Book Chapter 5. I've never tasted any Little Book before. So this is a first time to do that next to, again, this Bardstown batch of Booker's, which I think, to me, is the best Booker's batch that's come out in at least the last year, if not 2 years. All right. So high praise, I suppose, for Booker's. What's up, Matt Porter? Good to see you, man. I hope you're feeling better. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I miss the Whiskey Tube community. I've been so freaking offline recently, man. So good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for saying hey. Hopefully we can collab again soon. I don't know what you're up to these days, but I want to get back to just hanging out with people on Whiskey Tube and having a good time. You, Trev Wilson, a lot of the guys that I just love to talk to on here. So I love it. And everybody's showing love to Matt Porter as they should, one of the best dudes. All right, see you later, Aiden. Good to see you, man. right, so let's check out, again, New Booker's batch here. We just tasted that. Got that on the nose. Now let's go to Little Book Chapter 5. Huh. Booker's is very intense on the nose. You would expect that. And go to Little Book Chapter 5, which proof-wise is like, okay, 5% less ABV on Little Book Chapter 5. 5%. That's a decent amount, but it's not crazy. It's almost like nothing's there when you compare it to the Booker's. It's so reserved, so tame. Whoa, you get a little pineapple on Little Book Chapter 5. That's standing out because of this comparison. I don't know if that would stand out otherwise. Yeah, these like really light, delicate fruits. Little Book Chapter 5 is delicate on the nose. But it's, gosh, it's almost like it's missing something. It's tart as well, which I like. I like, when you get a little tart, bitter, slightly bitter vibe in a bourbon, I kind of like that. Great oak profile. I will say this Little Book 5 has definitely capitalized on the 15-year-old stuff that's in there. Whereas, yeah, Booker's Bardstown batch seems very fresh, very bright and lively. Maybe it's the brown rice mash bill that's been blended into Little Book Chapter 5 that's kind of taming it a little bit, taming the rye spice. Could be it. All right, let's taste it. That's pretty darn good. That's pretty good. Now I need to see if the second sip delivers the same way. It could just be the difference that I'm judging here between New Bookers and Little Book, as opposed to actually judging Little Book by itself. That'll take a little research on my end, on my own research, tasting it in isolation. But here, yeah, I mean, it's like a very tame Old Booker's is kind of what it tastes like. Yeah, it really does. It really, I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised that having 2-year bourbon in here is acceptable, like that your palate doesn't freak out and say, what the hell is this? I don't know the proportions or anything like that, but there's an amazing, like, toasted element to this. It almost feels like some part of this has been in a toasted barrel, and I don't know if that's the case, but I hate to say this. I really do, but Little Book 5 has a Basil Hayden toast character to it, but in a really good way. And maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe Basil Hayden toast came out the same year as Little Book 5 because they wanted to like hype the brown rice thing. Or I don't know. I think this has brown rice in it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe that was a past Little Book. But it has that element of Basil Hayden toast, but at a appropriate proof, and with those other things blended in. And the oak just helps it. You need that oak if you're gonna experiment this hard. You need to have that oak in there to show some age. Yeah. Is that worth whatever Little Book's MSRP is, like 120, 130? I don't know. But I like it. I do like it. I would pay in a heartbeat $80, $90, $100 maybe. At the Little Book price point, it just seems maybe a little overpriced. What's up, Kyoko? Hey, I owe you a message. Yes, I think we're good for Sunday. I'm pretty positive. I just need to make sure a couple of things here. I'll get back to you. All right. Back to Booker's Bardstown batch. Yeah. So these do not seem cut from the same cloth because of the blending of Little Book 5. Bardstown batch, compared to other Booker's batches, is a great whiskey. Compared to Little Book 5, yes, it seems immature, but it does seem like if you want something with more presence, you would go with the Bookers as opposed to the Little Book. I don't have any frame of reference to compare the Little Book to other things, but the Bookers I can say is a good batch of Bookers, and I would recommend picking this thing up because MSRP is like $90 or $85 or whatever it is now. I would say like don't pay over that, but if that's the only option you have in your area, fine. I mean, I paid $89.99 for this, so you know. Carl, I haven't done this probably. I haven't ever really thought of doing it because in my head, that's an easy comparison. And even if the Knob Creek pick that you buy, like let's say you buy a 15-year pick on secondary for $100 or $110, which is the range they go for. Paying that money is so worth the upcharge of $10 to $15 over Booker's because it's just a damn good bourbon. I sit on a bunch of these Knob Creek 15-year picks here in my basement, in my bunker, because they're so good. So yeah, there's no comparison. But if you want something with some serious teeth, you go with the Bookers. If you want something that's like an incredible refined whiskey with classic bourbon notes, you go with like an older Knob Creek pick. I should do a comparison of that, and it's obviously interesting because they're both from the same company. But at this point, I don't think I've ever, ever done that side by side. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, the pigskin is a decent batch. It's very classic Booker's, you do have to, maybe you have to train up for that. Yeah, it's gonna be a bomb, a spice bomb. Carl, I will say I've never had like a young Knob Creek pick. I've only had these older ones because that's what I typically, will seek out and buy. But the Bourbon Junkies pick that Matt Porter sent me in a blind flight one time threw me the F off. That was a crazy pick. Very off profile, but so good. Yeah. All right. So consensus, the new Bookers, damn it. I say this every time. I'm like, oh, it's getting better. It's an instant buy, But seriously, I think we're at a good level here with Bookers. I think we're getting back to it. So if you see Bardstown batch, I know Ohio really gets this stuff at the very beginning of the distribution. Pick this thing up. Don't overpay. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Let's get a sip of water. All right. Got to pour this in the old dump glass. Who knows what's even in that at this point? All right. I think I should get fresh glasses for the next comparison because the whiskey that I'm about to put side by side is too freaking expensive to use glasses that have already had whiskey in them this evening. So let me clean these out because I will probably come back and use these in a bit. But I want to rinse them very quickly. And then I'm going to show you what we're drinking. All right. Put those back there. Let's get some fresh glasses. And now let's do an epic comparison, which I haven't done before. I just got these from the old Schmeckendary Schmarket. All right. So I have both Old Forester 117 series here. Okay, first release was the High Angel Share barrels, and now we have the Warehouse K barrels. These are so damn expensive. It makes me shudder. Okay, but I went for it. I decided to pick both of these up. These are 375s. I know I'm a little late on these, but I've never been a big Old Forester person. And I figured maybe this is the time to become one because people were saying this is better than birthday bourbon. Okay, so let's do this. Small pours for these. Well, sort of small. Too expensive for big pours. All right. Nice. These are the cutest damn bottles you've ever seen. Well, like when you hold this in your hand, it's adorable. All right. I don't want to forget which one is which. So we should start with the High Angel Share barrels because it was the first release of the 117 series. Okay. Let's see what it says here. Due to heat-cycled warehousing and our unique maturation, occasionally the Angels choose particular barrels from which they take more than their fair share. This whiskey is a small batch of these flavorful few, which developed unique concentrated profiles due to higher than average evaporative loss. Released in March of 21, these are both 110 proof. I've been so curious about these. I never wanted to spend the coin, and I decided, let's just do it. All right, so we're going to start with the High Angel Share barrels. Coat the glass. And then we're going to move on to the Warehouse K barrels. Same proof, released in August, so last month. And this is just a focus on Warehouse K, but it's not including anything from Warehouse K Floor 6. Okay, so we're excluding Floor 6. So let's go to the High Angel Share first. Let's check this out. You know, you guys know the Old Forester profile when you smell it, right? You get those candied cherries, get like really sweet brown sugar notes. Cooper's Craft in particular, 100 has like a nice barrel char aspect to it. This takes what to me seems like a young bourbon with an accelerated aging, which is exactly what Old Forester is. This matches up the flavors with an appropriate age. It's like this has clearly got some age and barrel influence beyond the typical stuff that you're getting in 1920 or 1910. Yeah. Oh, God. It's this black pepper spiced candied cherries and fruit. It's like if you imagine an old MGP, like a Tumblin' Dice 11, or gosh, let me look at my MGP shelf. Tumblin' Dice 11, Remus Repeal 5, and Redemption High Rye Bourbon. Mix those together, and you get like this really intense orange citrus with black pepper and a lot of oak. Take the orange citrus and make it candied cherry, and that's what this High Angel Share Old Forester is. And what you don't get on Old Forester usually is like a great oak presence. This, similar to birthday bourbon, shows you that the oak presence on Old Forester is sweet oak, like Buffalo Trace. But it's sweet in an even more candied way than Buffalo Trace. Yeah, the nose on here is great. Let's try it on the palate. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Whew. That might be like a top 3 whiskey I've ever tasted. Oh my God. Um, so it's like if you took bourbon and combined it with the most delicious cake you've ever had. There's white chocolate, there's candied cherry strawberry filling, there's dark chocolate, there's espresso, there's oak, there's a little barrel char, there's a ton of vanilla. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. Mm. Oh my God. I can't believe I tasted this the other night with Sarah. My palate was shot. She had cooked like meat that night. You know, the house had a little like smell to it. Whatever she had cooked, it was meat, and it fills up the house with that smell. Um, this is the first time I've actually tasted this in this setting. Yeah, that's incredible. Tom, oh my God, I just want to say fuck you to Tom in the best way possible because yeah, $50 at the distillery. I paid $250 for this little 375, but I was like, you know what? I need to taste this. I have to know what this tastes like. Um, yeah. If I could drink this for the rest of my life, I would be okay. I would not drink any other bottle. It's like you took George T. Stagg and Old Forester birthday bourbon and did this, and that's what you get with the High Angel share. Oh my God. It is John, it's sex in a glass. Amy, I'm sorry, but yes, it's bourbon and cake. Look, man, I can't imagine that these things ever go down in price. I might be selling off like $1,000 worth of whiskey from my bunker to pay for 4 more of these because it's that good. Holy shit. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't fake this. This is that good, but that's only one half of the equation. Let's go to the recent release, which is Warehouse K Barrels, and let's check this thing out. I don't know age statements or age ranges even on any of these, and I don't care. How it tastes matters, way more than how long it's been aged. Yeah, Tom, save that for an occasion or drop 250 and get your own half bottle. Keith, I know, man. I mean, that's the secondary value right now. And the only reason I bought these was because when I started thinking, like, it's the end of the year, let's take some of the channel money, let's put it towards buying bottles that could contend for whiskey of the year if I had to pick one. And I heard a lot of people talk about specifically the first release, but I said, you know what, I should have both of them. So I paid $475 for both of these. That's expensive, and yeah, that's not something I would normally do if I didn't have the support of the channel and everything like that. And it seemed a little frivolous even then, but I had to go for it. Daniel, that is bananas. I cannot believe that. That's hilarious. if you smell that, it smells like birthday bourbon. It smells like 12-year-old Old Forester. Wow. Carl, that's amazing. Okay. Let's go to the Warehouse K barrels. Let's see what's going on here. This seems a little drier, a little less sweet. Like more of a traditional aged bourbon nose here. Lots of spice, lots of pepper. A little lighter as well. Yeah. Yeah, a little lighter. Amy, I love it. That's amazing. Actually, speaking of Old Forester's bananas, I don't think I get any of that really going on here. I think the more you age Old Forester, the more that note goes away and you get more like dark cherry and stuff like that. Okay. This is good information, Daniel. Let's just taste it before we talk about it more. Mm. Ooh. Gah. Dang, these are both so good. That one goes on forever. Warehouse K. It's not even done developing. Whoa. Okay. Yes. All right. I think I have a grasp on these. Yeah. All right. So Warehouse K barrels, more spice. If the Angel Share was dark chocolate and cherry and all those darker notes, this is milk chocolate, green apple, black and white pepper. I hate to be specific, but both of those are in there. Apricot, a little bit of cedar in that, which is a note that I've been really picking up in a couple of things recently. Yeah. It's basically the lighter counterpart to the Angel Share barrels. Both of these are amazing. I would take Angel Share. Yeah, I would probably take Angel Share if I had to pick one. But Warehouse K is just a little bit lighter. And, like if I likened these to anything, Angel Share might be, I don't know, Old Wild Turkey, where Warehouse K is Old MGP in terms of like flavor profile. Wild Turkey, dark, funky, MGP, kind of lighter, brighter, peppery, that kind of thing. Yes, I have, Tom, and that's a really good bottle. Really good bottle. Keith, totally different beasts. I actually have that right here. The Volstead's damn good. Old Freudian. I love it. Let's see, Keith. Okay. And Keith, I got your message. I apologize I haven't replied yet. I cannot find backups of this Volstead. I got a couple, or I snagged a couple on secondary, I thought, and the guy just ghosted me. He never responded, which was really kind of shitty. So, all right, Volstead's here. Here is the Angel Share. Yeah, totally different. And now Warehouse K. Yeah, totally different. I mean, the Old Forester brightness and sweetness is present in both of these still. But it's not like a 1920 or a 1910 type profile. It's just like the best version of those aged and more tame, Let's try Volstead. Right. Volstead at only 100 proof is just a little bit, more reserved and flatter and more tame than these Old Foresters. The Old Foresters, because they still have some youth in them, they're bright and lively, but they don't taste young. But Volstead is just a refined drink. it's something that like a wine drinker would appreciate Volstead, or somebody that doesn't want their face ripped off by proof. They would really appreciate that. Let's go to High Angel Share. Yeah. It's got a little more bite to it. My God. It's like dessert, Carl, both are 110. The High Angel Share and the Warehouse K. Volstead is 100. Not a super fair comparison, but yeah, Bourbon Mike. Doing these comparisons is great. It's hard for me to do them on outside of live streams because it's just a lot of bourbon to drink. And I don't like spitting, I've tried that. I think I should try it again, but it's really hard to spit the bourbon and appreciate it the same way, All right, Warehouse K. Warehouse K is certainly the more apt comparison to Volstead, but Volstead, is far and away way oakier. It smells like you're in a forest outside. Yeah, that petrichor note in there is very deep, very present. So, wow. All right. So we've compared these Old Foresters. We've thrown in the Volstead. We've done all of the Bardstown, recent releases, the Fusion, the Discovery 6, and then the Faronde cognac finish, which is just fine. It's I would not go hunt that on secondary. And what else have we done? The new Booker's Bardstown Batch and Little Book Chapter 5, which was interesting and I think very good, maybe overpriced, but very good. The 15 years saves that blend, of course. And as I'm looking around here, there's nothing else I really want to get to this evening. I'd rather save some of these for review videos, which are on the way, or future live streams. I've also had a lot of whiskey this evening, and I need to calm down. So I think that's going to do it for me, guys. Ooh, Daniel. I can maybe do that. What's up, Kevin? Carl says, yeah. I mean, this is the thing for me. It's becoming more real that there are some nights that I don't want to drink whiskey, I just get to a point. I mean, whiskey for me, messes up acid reflux. It makes me not feel so great. There's a lot of things about whiskey that I don't like. The taste, I love. I love drinking it and hanging out and nerding out about it. But I've come to the conclusion that, if I have a choice in a week where it's I drink whiskey every day this week, even if it's one pour, or I don't do that, I'd rather not do that. Just, based purely on how I feel and a lot of other factors. How I sleep, a big one. So, I think part of making this channel, part of going through the work of marketing the shit out of this channel and trying to do good in the whiskey community and all that kind of stuff has been discovering what's best for me, no matter what's best for the community. You have to do what's good for you first. And then, your schedule as well. All of those things have come into play. And I've kind of figured out over the last 2 months or 3 months, maybe, as I've become increasingly busy, and now I'm getting much less busy with side projects, realizing what role the channel is going to play in my life and how I can best contribute to the whiskey community with reviews and things. And also just saying, I'm not going to drink tonight, or whatever it may be. It's been very interesting. So Carl, I appreciate that sentiment, man. Yeah, the reflux is crazy. And I had been talking to you guys about some abdominal things I had going on. I do not think it was all whiskey related. I've always had kind of issues. And I've had a hernia above my belly button. I've had, that surgically repaired and lots of other stuff. But I think it has definitely a factor in that. But there's a lot of stuff going on there. And I'm still trying to figure it out with my doctor. So the reflux is not great, though. Uta, that's the thing. When you go like, I don't really want to do that tonight, you're fine. Like that's a good place to be. Okay. Let's see what this is. Okay, this is Volstead. Look, Keith, if you can ever get a Remus Volstead, I know, Keith, you don't like to pay over MSRP sometimes, or you don't want to pay too inflated of a price. This bottle, if you can find one for $250, I'm telling you, man, pull the trigger on this. It is amazing. It is seriously amazing. It might be in my top 3 or 5. And you asked a question about that earlier, Keith. Top 3, High Angel Share, 117 Series Old Forester, Chateau de la Baude, and I'm going to think of things that are recently released, not old school stuff, because that would not be fair. Could be Russell's 13. Could be Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A119. Those are good. Those are good options. Yeah, as I look around. Yeah. But Chateau de la Baude and this High Angel Share definitely up there. Amazing. Colin, yes, it's so good. Oh man, I've never had an OESO. My which I didn't get to this evening, my limited 2021. It's good. It's not that good. It's not worth $450 on secondary. It's not even worth as much as my OESQ tier 6. But I'd love to try an OESO. Like, I've never had an OESO. Keith, you sent me an OESV. I thought that was phenomenal. So OESO, I'm sure, is even better, I'm with you on this. Although my liver's good for now. I've done blood work and all that. 100% pancreas, liver, all good. But it definitely worries me, Volstead, man. Okay. Well, guys, I'm going to jump off. We covered a lot of bases tonight. Thanks for hanging out. We will do a giveaway soon. Could be a Discovery 6. Could be a lot of things. I got a lot of things in my bunker right now. But that will happen very soon. On Sunday, I am 95% sure I will be on with Kilco at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So keep an eye out for that. That will be a lot of fun. I'm assuming that's going to happen. What else? Just keep an eye out for videos. I'm back to work on drums and drams, playing a big gig this weekend, although side projects are done. And I've got the dump glass this evening. Fusions, Little Book, Bookers, Discoveries, all sorts of stuff in here. Let's taste it. Whew. Like a million proof. Tastes like Fusion 6 and Booker's had a baby, and the baby had a little more fruit, That's all. Thanks, guys. I'm out of here. Cheers, and I will see you next time on Drums and Drams.